We are the party bus of election coverages, and we're stoked. We're fucking stoked.
That is the perfect analogy. We are the party bus of election coverage. We are the airport limousine of election coverage. We're going to be doing the electric slide on Burbank Boulevard.
Yeah. It's a Golden Weed Show. That's TS.
And that's Sasha.
And we are live remote on Idobi Radio. I thought TS, I was just making eyes at him because I don't have a mic stand. So I can't let go of my mic to point at you. So we are live on Idobi Radio. We never miss a week. We can't miss a week, especially not now. It's such an important time. So find us everywhere on Idobi's YouTube or on our own YouTube, on Instagram, Cool Nerd Weed Show, and I guess Twitter, Cool Nerd Weed, from time to time. Maybe you can find us on there. And what else? Is that it?
Yeah, you can also watch us on the Idobi Radio app as well.
Download the Idobi Radio app for free and watch our podcast along with many, many other podcasts that, might I add, you also get for free. And the Idobi Radio app is so cute. It's so cute. It has everything, including like news stories. Yeah, look at how cute she is. I love her. Oh, our logo should be in that. I'll fix that. But yeah, it's lit. The Idobi Radio app is where it's at. And everybody at Idobi works so very hard. And we love you so much, Idobi Radio. Oh, quick show announcement. We, TS and I,
yes,
your local radio nerds who smoke a shit ton of weed and talk about politics and weed reform, we're going to be doing election coverage with It's News to Us. Our fearless leader, Eddie, does a show on Mondays, It's News to Us, which is fantastic, in which he breaks down all of the news and whatnot of the week, and invited us to join him live in studio for the election, which is going to be a very stressful night for us, present company, and probably you too. So please tune in to Idobi Radio on November 5th. Is it the 5th?
Tuesday.
5th.
No, I believe it's November 5th.
Yeah, that Tuesday. Yeah, whatever. Just like figure the day out. I don't know. Maybe I'll be there. The most important fucking day of our current history. We will be talking about politics and some stuff this show, trigger warning, but also it is a very important year for us, a very important election, and we are fucking stoked. Like we have our outfits picked out for it. They're going to be matching, obviously.
It was the first thing we did. And to confirm, it is November 5th.
Wonderful. Okay, so it's the 5th. So mark your calendars. We're calling this bitch. We are calling the election like some fucking Dana Bash shit.
Yeah, if you're sick of all the lamestream media.
Oh, no.
You could tune in to Idobi Radio, and we're going to be live video. I'm pretty sure it's going to be on YouTube TV.
Oh, this is going to be so great.
TV. And
Idobi TV. Yes, you're going to see the nerds and Eddie, and it's News to Us, a whole entire show. I believe other Idobi Radio staffers are calling in as well, because this is going to be a very, very big support group moment for us. And if maybe, I don't know if there's a number or a Skype or whatever, maybe we can open it up to people. But you can chat with us if you need to talk. You can hop on the old Instagram Ola and we will respond to DMs. It's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long week. I think it was a long week the last time, but I think it's going to be okay. I do. I have that feeling. But I guess I've seen how it is any other way. Like, I know what happens if Trump wins. We're doomed. I know what happens if Kamala wins. there's hope in the world. Is there work to do? But of course. But this one thing we have to get through. We have to get through this election in order to show the world that that not having a choice for your bodies, for restrictions on rights, for just making the rich richer and doing completely away with anything else, namely the bodies and rights whole spiel, and weed is also on the ballot. So these are very important moments for us, and choosing Kamala says we are ready to walk into the future as a advanced civilized country. If we go to the other option, we have taken many, many steps backwards in both our civil rights, our personal rights, our everything. We've seen it be walked backwards. And a lot of us just can't take that again. So this is going to be just a fun hang for you and for me. And I just think it's really great that we're doing it. Like, I told my whole family and they're really stoked. They're like, we'll be listening because we need to get away from the craziness that's going to be the other networks' coverage. You know, we'll have it on, obviously. I mean, where are we going to get our... Unless we have boots on the ground in all the battleground states.
Oh my God! Yeah, we should have boots on the ground in Georgia, in Michigan, Arizona,
Pennsylvania should have. North Kakalaka. No, for sure. It's going to be a really great night. So listen to election night coverage with It's News to Us and the Cool Nerd Weed Show on election day. It's going to be a long, delicious show. And TS and I are strapped in. Like, we've been preparing for this like our whole lives. Like when we got asked, like, I definitely squealed happiness. Like, I backflipped. I was like, yeah, this is exactly what the nerds... it's exactly.
Oh yeah, it was like July at the Frogtown Brewery when we were hanging out with Eddie.
Yeah, yeah, and we were like,
he's like,
yeah, this makes sense.
You son of a bitch. We're in.
Son of a bitch, I'm in. We are all the way in. So listen, love that. And on the in-between, we have, I think, one more show in between that we'll be updating you and keeping you reminded of what's at stake. It's not exactly like, what dab tool should I use with a fucking sugar concentrate? Like, it's not, it's not fluffy. It's heavy stuff. but we're the nerds and we're going to try to make it fun. And Idobi Radio is just a really fucking fun place to be. It's a really positive place to be. I've never really experienced anything like working at Idobi in like this really positive way. And we say this almost every week. Like, Idobi is our fucking safe haven. It's our place. And that's why you're here. Not TS, the other ear. The person who has us in our ears. That's why you're here, is because you hang out, you love, you get it, and we get you, and we love you. So we're all in this together. And maybe it'll be okay. And if not, then we're going to be fucking drunk and very, very crossfaded. Maybe not, the Jake Tappers and the and the Caitlin Collins of the world.
Or maybe more of the Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen.
New Year's. That is definitely us. We are the party bus of election coverages, and we're stoked. We're fucking stoked.
That is the perfect analogy. We are the party bus of election coverage. We are the airport limousine of election coverage.
Those doors are going to open. A lot of smoke's going to come out. A lot of smoke is going to bellow out those party bus doors. You are welcome to walk on in, breathe in that crossfade goodness, and just, watch the world do what it does. And hopefully this will be like a wonderfully historic night, not a night. Like, I want to leave the studio. Like, I'm already picturing, whatever o'clock in the morning, us leaving the studio with smiles on our face and being like, I think we did it. I think we're in the clear. Not butt cheeks clenched, sweat dried on the back of my neck, tears dried on my face. I don't want any of that.
We are going to be doing the electric slide on Burbank Boulevard.
Yeah.
Reminiscent of when Obama was elected. Because that's the last time I really felt like there was hope in the world.
Oh my God.
So I want those feelings back.
So yes, I was looking at my Facebook memories, which I don't really love to do. All of a sudden I'm doing it. And one came up from when gay marriage was legalized in New Jersey, which had to be an Obama era. It was an Obama era thing when he was, kind of making it accessible and legal. And I remember saying it on the radio. I don't know what radio station I was at, whether I was in New York or New Jersey. Either way, I was on the radio. And I said gay marriage just became legal in New Jersey. And I was like, that's a really cool thing that I got to say in my lifetime. And now, mind you, this is 15 years ago. So, like, the fact that, like, I am scared of our rights being taken away 15 years later is not good. It's not a great place to be. So we are going to be that place. That's the place that we were when Obama was in office. Was our rights we were getting them. We were getting rights. We were getting a minute to breathe and love each other and shit. Like, everything will always be divisive. You're always going to have a difference in policy and what you think the country should be doing, so on and so fucking forth. But the division in this country in this moment is
it's running deep. Yeah.
Quite deep.
Yeah.
And we just want to smoke you out and make sure you're okay and make sure that we're all here when the right thing happens, which will be Kamala Harris becoming from vice president to president, which your boy Tim Waltz. Actually, I saw. I'm up in Norwood. We'll get to weed in a minute, but I'm up in Norwood by my sister. That's where I am today, and Norwood's in New Jersey, next to Northville. It's a very affluent town and suburbs and whatnot. Normally, you see a lot of Trump signs. There's a lot of Trump signs hanging out around here. It's kind of close to like Nyack, New York, like that area. And this weekend we were out and I saw so many Harris Waltz signs, and I saw two dudes at the bar we were at with a Harris Waltz, like, what do you call it? Camo hat? Those hats that they came out with. And I was like,
the like Bass Pro hats.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? That's great. Like, I didn't think I'd see that up here. This is like a famously mostly red area. So I think that that's a really great sign. I think that's a great sign. Democrats are usually sleepers. So yeah, I think we'll show up and show out. And I think it's going to be a really great year for us.
I voted already.
You did.
I took my time on Saturday. I filled out my ballot. I dropped it off in the drop box. I'm waiting. It is Monday, so I'm expecting by tomorrow to get a text because they'll just tell me that it went through, and I'll probably get a text and an email because I got a text message reminding me that I can vote early. And the thing about voting early, it's easy, but once you clear your name off of the voter registrations, then the people that are out there campaigning still with the undecided voters they will actually like focus on people who haven't voted yet. So
right,
doing everybody a service by voting early.
Sure. You're saving everybody time. You're saving everybody time. I think if you can vote by mail and you can vote early, you do it. Keep like your vote within, like, you know what I mean? Like, get it out there. Like, just fucking, like, that's what I want to do. As soon as I got my ballot in the mail, I was like, oh, like, this is mine. This is my voice. This is my moment. And I don't have to go to a fucking school on a Tuesday night or be in town. Like, sometimes I'm not in town. So this really helped me greatly vote. The first couple of elections we had when I lived in LA, I obviously had to vote in LA, but the last few years in November, I haven't been in LA. I've been here on the East Coast. So, I mean, obviously absentee ballots would be my thing, but like, that's a whole rigmarole. The early voting and like fucking mail-in shit, like, it's one thing COVID kind of helped because not all the states can do that. They're already like restricting early voting in a few states, right? Like,
yeah, there's been a lot of fuckery with the voting and your voting rights, but even in Texas, early voting has begun as of.
I saw that. Yeah.
So if you can vote early, then you should probably get out there and do it. Just do it.
Just vote. Rock the vote. Nah, fuck rock the vote. We are just vote, go
baby,
vote.
Vote, baby, vote. Are you registered, baby? Vote, baby, vote.
What is that?
I've been posting that. That's Delight.
Aww.
That's a voting song that I stumbled upon. Vote, baby, vote. Vote, baby, vote. Are you registered, baby?
You should post that on our page for sure. On our page for sure. Like absolutely post it. Vote, baby, vote. Are you registered? Yes. Are you registered? It's so, everything is so easy now. It's so easy to vote, and it's so important. It's so goddamn important. So please do it. Know your rights. Know what you're voting for. We have all of that info for you, especially weed related. We definitely obviously know what's on the ballots. And you mentioned early voting kicks off in Tejas, and that is what we're going to start with. I almost just closed out of the window that we were using to broadcast live. So we're off to a great start. But, so that's a sign of things to come, then maybe we are in trouble. But yeah, early voting kicks off in Texas.
Yeah, and it's we always talk about voting, especially for cannabis, starts at like a very local level, and this is a very local level. In some cities in Texas, you are voting on decriminalization of cannabis. Right now in Dallas, a few other cities, Austin did it in a midterm election a couple of years ago. They decriminalized cannabis. But Dallas, one of the larger cities in Texas, it is on the ballot right now. So you'll be able to have up to 4 ounces, and they can't do anything. Doesn't matter where it came from, where it's going. You can have 4 ounces, and cannabis will be decriminalized. Amazing. If you vote yes on Prop R if you live in the city of Dallas.
City of Dallas, vote yes on Prop R. That is to decriminalize weed, right?
Yes. Also, in all of these decriminalization bills, it also takes away the police police ability to search your vehicle just based on the smell of cannabis alone.
I was just gonna say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. I was just looking at that, and that is such a huge deal. Such a huge deal, because we always say, both of us alike, know your rights when you're driving with weed, because it's very, very easy not to know that. I literally have to look it up every state that I go just to make sure that I don't have anything. Do not travel interstate with weed, please. Just play it safe. If you're going to a legal state, the fuck you need to bring weed for? But if you are not, then just wait it out, figure it out. That is my advice to you. But if you are in your state and weed is decriminalized and you're driving around, if you leave Dallas, just make sure your car doesn't smell like weed. And if you're in Dallas, probably make sure your car doesn't smell like weed also. But now, if you just have that sticky, icky, and it's loud as fuck over down in Texas, then you are good to go. That's wonderful. I love that. I love that.
It's a baby step. It's a baby step, but it is something.
I know,
and I think sort of rather progressive for the state of Texas.
I think that's why I'm so excited.
And the people of Dallas. Yeah, I expected this to happen in Austin, a little bit more of a liberal city, but in Dallas, I think it's going to pass. I see a lot of people from Texas. They come through the shop. Everybody loves weed. Nobody wants to get arrested for it. So
Not even at all, a little bit. And Texas has been struggling with this for a long time. Well, they struggle with a lot of things, but this issue in particular has been very, very difficult to get through, the weed issue. It was even difficult when the Farm Bill passed, and they were like, oh, okay, great. Now we can do our farm, our hemp isolations and whatnot. They still tried to, mess that up for farmers there. So while you're right, this isn't like dispensaries are opening up tomorrow and like weed is readily accessible and safely available for the residents of Texas. I do think it's exciting news that at the very least, you don't have to be afraid that this is just going to be the excuse that is given for you to be thrown in jail or for you to be hassled or anything of the sort. You can feel, dare I say, safe. Like if you're in Dallas and Austin.
yes.
Anywhere else, please be careful.
Also, it is up on the ballot in it's a Lockhart, Texas, Prop
Okay.
A, and Bastrop Measure M. Prop M is vote yes on Prop M is a vote for marijuana decriminalization.
Woo. Woo, yeah. Woo.
So, things are happening. It's happening.
They are. I know. I was like maybe overly excited about it at first. And then you pulled me back to the ground. Because it's just cool because Texas, I think, was really one of the last places I thought you'd see any sort of coming around. I mean, already Governor Abbott, right? Abbott?
Yeah, Governor Abbott's
Abbott.
Calling it, it's going to thrust Texas and Texans into anarchy.
This isn't going to be the thing that throws Texas into it.
No,
Texas,
no,
read
no,
up
sir.
on what Texas is and how Texas came to be, and that actually explains a lot about Texas. If you go down the rabbit hole of the history of Texas in our country, it's quite interesting. And I do think they are part of these United States. Like they should be able to enjoy cannabis like the goddamn most of rest of us. And some other things that go on in that state that people do not have access to or rights to is really fucking whack. It's whack as hell. So these are things that you can control. You can actually change the way that this goes by early voting in Texas. And I just can't wait to see how it goes for you.
You can also choose to vote out Governor Greg Abbott as well.
Oh, can you now?
Point, we have the power to vote.
That's right. No, yeah.
And even, he appointed Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, who has also challenged local decriminalization laws that were enacted in these other 5 cities.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Trying to undermine the will of the people.
You could actually flip Texas around almost completely. There's some things I'm sure you want to keep about Texas, I bet. But
Tex-Mex?
I've never had authentic Tex-Mex. Is it delicious? I must be.
I want to keep the positive vibes in Texas.
Okay,
so
no, never mind.
We'll talk about their food.
I thought for a second you were going to be like, it is so fucking good.
So good.
The steaks, for those of us who eat meat.
Sure. They know about a thing or two about cattle.
They do. They know how to wrangle a couple cattles. And that's great. And farming, I would reckon, is probably something that they're pretty good at down there, along with many other things. I mean, Texas is fucking huge, and there's so much beauty about that state and wonderfulness about it. So I always feel like there's a lot of potential that could be reached just by embracing a couple. I'm not saying to flip around. Would I love for them to all have the same views of things that I do in the governor and the government of Texas? Of course I would. But that taint the basis of this country. And I said taint, but it's not. The basis of this country is that we all live together. You know, we the people and shit. So Texas is the people, and I do think that like this, maybe abortion access, stuff like that, like just so on and so forth. I don't know if you noticed I've been harping on that one thing for a while, but those things, I think it would be prudent for them to catch up. Well, not even to catch up, just to be on the right side. And I'm hoping for the best. That's where I'm at right now. Maybe because I'm like kind of really sick and my brain is like trying to survive.
No,
And it's just like, be positive, be happy. You're not going to die. Everything's going to be okay. Texas is going to decriminalize weed. Maybe it'll be legal there one day. And when the fucking feds reschedule rather cannabis, then it really is going to show the world who's boss. It really is going to show what is coming to town. And in order for a state to kind of catch up with that moment, and just if you want to make that paper, you kind of have to be on the decriminalization level. It's the baby step that you have to take to get to California access, you know, or a California level of cannabis access.
yeah, California decriminalized ages ago. So, you know, I'm confident that Texas is gonna show up and vote in Dallas, vote yes on Prop R, and Lockhart Prop A, and Bastrop Prop M yes on all of those for cannabis decriminalization.
We're talking about what is on the ballot basically for weed in terms of this election. No, in this election in terms of weed, I haven't smoked all day because I haven't felt well. So this next 20 minutes might be a little you might have to take the wheel. TS, Jesus, take the wheel, aka my weed Jesus, take the wheel. Weed Jesus, take the wheel. So we talked about Texas for a little while, and now we're gonna maybe just talk about Florida for a second.
Yeah, Florida. We've talked about Amendment 3 is on the ballot this year to legalize cannabis for recreational adult use in the state of Florida.
Yes,
you know, there's a lot of people in Florida. And actually, okay, so this is interesting. One of the interesting parts is that it requires what is called a super majority to vote. So it needs 60% to pass. It's polling right now at 70% of the state of people that are polled agree that cannabis should be legalized in the state of Florida.
Right.
We've broken down the bill.
We have. And this is because it like basically, I mean, it goes in the Constitution or whatever, right? Like
it's a constitutional amendment to the Florida state constitution. So once it's in there, it's pretty much, it takes another like act of Congress to make any progress or changes to this amendment.
Yeah. So like obviously the governor and stuff like that, like they don't like it. There's a lot of opponents.
They don't. Governor DeSantis doesn't like it for reasons why we don't like it. So,
yeah.
So we've been vocally against Amendment 3.
Yeah, we have
in Florida, and you know, we encourage you to vote with your heart. You do what you feel is right. But Governor DeSantis is on this anti-cannabis campaign.
Which is not why we're against it, obviously. We want you to have, you just heard me, you know, sing the Body Electric about fucking Texas getting access. We want all the states to have access. It is because it's a poorly written bill. It does not benefit the people who it should. And again, like TS said, we have broken it down. You can find those episodes. You can go find that stuff online. Please vote like with the most education that you can possibly find time to fit in, and as much as you can stand, because it could be a little like put that thing down, flip it and reverse it, and we can get something better where we'll have equity. So people that you may know who are in jail for weed or who went to jail for weed maybe can start their lives again, and maybe can and maybe there'll be stuff in it for farmers too. Maybe they'll make some monies, and maybe it won't be one big stupid fucking mid-ass corporation, and it'll be multiple places that will supply weed. That can maybe happen if this doesn't pass. However, that's not the reason why Governor DeSantis doesn't like it. Why didn't he like it?
DeSantis doesn't like it because, well, he thinks the whole state's going to smell like weed, and it's going to reduce the quality of life. Also, he's out there saying that, Colorado and California, that we're fed up with everything stinking like skunks. And
are we?
No, obviously he hasn't been here or spoken to any of us. He refuses to come on this show.
Yeah, we have requested him to be a guest on this show. Just kidding. No, we haven't. But I mean, maybe we have. I don't know.
We put it out there.
Yeah, he knows. He knows that he can come speak we like to speak truth to power and all that stuff. So, no, he will not come on the show. And he also, I have to feel like he's not talking to what represents the majority of us who live in Colorado and California, who would not give up our access to weed for anything, because it's actually been life-saving. And if he knew anything about that, he would know that people actually, if they can, for a long time they were being called medical fucking refugees because they had to leave their state. Hey, that kind of maybe that's the thing that's happening with abortion as well. I don't know. They're leaving their state to have to go get access to save their lives. And that's what people had to do to go get weed. They had to scrounge together money to try to save their children, because medicinal weed was the only thing that was helping them. And Colorado was the first place to really have that be a thing. I feel like the people of Colorado in the last 20 years only solidified that, if it's anything like California. I mean, sure, we have our complaints about California and just the politics of the legal weed of today and the corporations of it all, but I wouldn't give up the access that California has, the product that California has available to people who are in need, people who just want it. That's like, so, like, I don't know if, I mean, maybe I not to speak for the entire state of but the nerds are a pretty good representation of of California. At the very least, TS is. I mean, he is California. So I feel like, yes, I have definitely been, although there's a big old championship baseball game happening this weekend. If you're listening in this point in time, it's Yankees Dodgers. I don't have my fucking Yankees gear on.
Oh, Dodgers.
Yes, go Dodgers, but also go fucking Yankees. First time in almost 20 goddamn years. Let's do this thing. But it's okay if you don't. Because I love LA. I love LA so much, and I love California, and I really do. Yes, I do feel like it's been a really long time, and I don't feel, obviously I'm not native, but I do feel very ingrained in the culture there, and especially the weed culture. And we are good working class representations of California, or at least Southern California, and the smell of weed is not our concern, even like in the slightest.
It's the least of our problems is the smell of cannabis anywhere in any big city. I see a good cross section of people that come from everywhere in the world, and every day people are coming. They're like, we don't have this at home. And if we do, it's hella expensive, and your products are way better in California.
You bet they are. But that is big facts.
This is crazy to me that Governor DeSantis is running these anti-cannabis ads that are basically talking shit about California and Colorado.
Yeah. How dare you speak for and to our fucking states? Fuck out of here. You think you are.
Also, Also, he's running these anti-cannabis ads that are paid for by the government, which I don't think is legal. So he's kind of getting into some problems there.
Yeah, I mean, Elon Musk is paying people to vote, so we're clearly in a mess, a world of mess right now when it comes to corruption and getting people to. Yeah, that's fucked. That is so fucked, and that's what you have to look forward to, you know, for as long as it is the way that it is. So we do have our issues with this, the way this is written, with this law. You also have, there's also other things on the ballot that are importante. I don't know if I've mentioned it tonight, but our right to choose what to do with our bodies, that's on the ballot as well. That's a big one. I would urge you to vote to have the right to choose what you want to do with your body. I'm kind of unabashed there, but I also with the weed. What is it? Amendment 3 or something? What is it again?
Amendment 3 in the
Amendment
state
3.
of Florida.
It's it's icky, but it's not icky because it's going to be loud and smell like weed. Trust us when we say the quality of life doesn't go down because of access to weed. Even if it's the worst version, even if it's this bullshit law with your corporate ass weed company giving you mid weed, it is still leaps and bounds better than. See, I want to say people going to jail for weed. However, it also like there's nothing to say you're not going to go to jail for weed in this bill or in this law. Like
this is the problem. This is the
You're
problem. Yes, we want Florida to have legal cannabis. The downside is there's no criminal justice reform. There's no social equity provisions. There's no employment protections, and there's no home grow.
No. So this is for no one. This is for no one except for people who want to make money.
Yes. Also, people like True Leave that we just saw some leaked photos of some really sickly, disgusting, moldy, bug-infested plants.
Just and not like if you were to have
those
food
people
product, put that out.
Those people with this law, those people who give you shitty products, there's no consequences for them. They are protected. If you give me some moldy ass weed and it makes me sick, I have no recourse.
Yeah. Yeah, the regulation for cannabis reform usually protects the consumer a little bit more. That's what all these regulations are, is to make sure that there's no mold in your product. It's to make sure you're getting clean product. That's why TS and I are always so big on regulating weed, even though it sounds like kind of a thing like we're a little anti-establishment, but when it comes to making sure my weed doesn't have fucking rodent shit in it, then I'm down. Like I'm super down with that. I would love that. And the thing that makes me so sick about this Florida thing is like we have the technology. They can do it. Those herb asses came over to California and Colorado and looked around and talked to people, and we're probably like, how do you do it out here? Blah, blah, blah. And we were probably like, ooh, look at this, look at that. And they were like, too expensive, and went back home, grew their shitty moldy weed, talked to the one company that just so happened to be the company that Donald Trump talked to, who also lives in Florida. Like, my
surprise.
It's not built for you as the consumer, as the patient, as the member. It is built for corporations to get richer and to not be held accountable for anything that they do, especially their product. And we don't love that. But again, just to differentiate between us and Ron DeSantis, it's only the one thing. Everything else is pretty much the same. No, we could not be more opposite. But on weed, it is not because of the smell. We goddamn love the smell of weed. Boy, if that could just be my pheromones, then I'd be a lucky gal. I do actually love the smell of weed. And a lot of people don't. I mean, TBH, and that's
true,
totally
it's
cool
true.
too. Listen, I'm not trying to be a hippy dippy and get on your bag about not liking the smell of weed. Sometimes people get headaches from smells. It's, like we're not asking to fucking be smoking blunts, outside of your neighbor's lawn with like their baby being put to bed. Like I don't know, with the apple pie on the open window and shit. Like we're not trying to like take over your suburb. But access to weed is good. Like maybe your neighbor has had a long fucking day and needs to go chill the fuck out and needs to go in their basement, take a hit off the bat, and it might smell like weed for a second. But maybe that thing saves their life. Maybe that thing physically saves their life. Maybe it mentally saves their life. Maybe they are raising kids, trying to make things happen. Isn't that what you love? Don't you love your family fucking values and everything? Don't you want people to have more families? The way they do that is they stay healthy and they stay mentally well. And the way to do that is to have access to the things that they need, which is bodily rights, autonomy, and weed. So that's my story.
Oh, should we move on to the Dakotas?
Yes, let's do the Dakotas. Let's do the Dakotas very quick.
Okay.
I tried to play the Cool Nerd Weed Show America thing, but I also let's do the Dakotas, and then I maybe want to do the budtender 5 things.
Oh yeah,
thing.
yes.
But we have to take
that.
another break there.
Okay.
So
Let's
do with that what you will. The Dakotas is quick though, isn't it?
Yeah,
and we could also save the Dakotas for next week, so they get their own 20 minutes of ranting and raving.
Okay, let's save the Dakotas for next week.
Let's save the Dakotas for next week. In the meantime, if you, dear listener, would like to do some reading and catching up, so you can play along, you can catch up on what's happening. If you have any questions, you can DM us and we'll answer them about the Dakotas, about any place in America that has weed on the ballot. We would love to answer your questions. We clearly have a lot to talk about it, and we will also be answering your questions on election night on Idobi Radio. Well, it's not a huff and puff. It's just, and we're back. It's just like, it's a puff. But we haven't played the final huff and puff in a long time. You know what I mean? Sorry, I always ruin your puff, your intro. I do. Sometimes I do it on purpose, but this time
I was looking so cool.
I timed it.
I got the Puffco working.
I know. I'm a bad co-host, and I know it. And I need reform. I need to go into co-host rehab and get right. But in the meantime, we do have our final puff or huff and puff. This is just a cute little thing that we like to bring up sometimes. Just kind of some dispensary. I wouldn't call it etiquette. Just stuff that like you can, this is a Leafly article, by the way, if you want to find it. This is just stuff that you can kind of have in your mind when you go to a dispensary for the first time, especially. And I know that like it's overwhelming sometimes. So I think like when I'm overwhelmed and I don't know what to expect about a sitch, I do like the most scripting in my head that I can. So I try to like rehearse what I'm going to say over and over again. And this is like a really good way to kind of just have a guideline for that. Not like you have to do that. If you already know what you want and you just want to go shoot the shit with your budtender, you are obviously welcome to do that. We are here for all of the things that you need. But these are just kind of like little guidelines that we will probably ask you. You know, this will be a question that a budtender, these will be questions that your budtender will ask you when you come in. So what will you first ask when a consumer comes, a member, a
the
patient?
First question we would ask is, how do you want to consume your cannabis? So generally that's, what are you looking for? Are you looking for flower? Are you looking for a vape? Do you want edibles? Do you want a topical? Do you want tinctures? Do you want capsules?
Yeah.
What is your cannabis vessel and how do you want to consume it?
Yeah. Yeah. This is a great first question. Love it. If you are like just wanting to do something topical, you don't even want to feel high at all. That's something that we need to know. So this kind of leads up to your next question. Like, what do you want to do with your weed? Is it something that you want to just kind of use towards the end of the day to chill? Is it actually something that really does relieve your pain? Are you looking for it to relieve some pain? Is it both? Is it kind of like a combination of the two? We will definitely ask you what you want to achieve through cannabis, and that'll help us know where to look in terms of strains and in terms of just actual product. We aren't doctors, obviously, but like if you have your medical card, you're coming in for medicinal reasons. So we make sure, I mean, we did. I'm saying we because I don't really like I don't want to speak for all budtenders in the world, but like we made sure that we knew the most about the information that we were imparting on people. We were not reckless with we weren't willy-nilly. Like if you came in with a medical condition, we needed to know all of the things and why, because there's there's no other way for us.
Abs-
So yeah, that's what we want to know.
Absolutely. Today's budtender is going to be highly educated on all of the effects, all of the products, what if you're going to speak about it in medically, you need to know about the medical effects that cannabis can provide. So budtenders have to be
and please
educated.
talk to your sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
Your budtenders have to be extremely educated.
I'm so sorry. We're not together. I interrupt you a lot. I'm really sorry. I'm going to apologize about that a lot tonight. So yes. Now I was just going to say, I was just going to piggyback off that, add to that if you want to talk to, just get on my back. If you want to talk to your doctor or a doctor that you know is weed friendly, not maybe, I mean, your doctor is best, but not all doctors are weed friendly. Or no, my doctor happens to be really, really well versed in cannabis as medicine. And he's been wanting to like kind of enact it here in New York. So I got lucky, but a lot of doctors don't understand. And that's just the way of the world, though, in all things. So if you find a doctor who knows stuff and you want to ask them first before you come in, feel free. We'll point you in the right direction. So what's the next question that we would ask somebody?
How much do you want to spend? What's in the budget?
Yeah,
it's always
that's a big one.
It's I don't know. I kind of find it's very helpful sometimes, and some people think it's kind of tacky.
Yeah, but like if you're just like coming in and you're like, I want an eighth of something, and you show me fucking hyphy and you're like, that's $90 at the register, I'm gonna be pissed at you. Like, you know what I mean? That's like the sommelier, like giving you the $1,000 wine because you're like, just give me what you recommend. Like that. It's that I actually really like that question. I want to be asked that question. Okay. Sometimes sky's the limit. It's payday and get shit to do, blah, 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 blah. But
I get it. But a lot of times people don't want to like,
I know,
say that they can't afford that hyphy or that Dom Perignon or the, and being the snooty sommelier budtender that I am, when somebody comes in and asks me what the best is, I show them. They're like, in that case, you should. Say, what are you smoking on? I show them immediately. And then, people that enjoy finer cannabis in life are like, oh yeah, this is what I want. And other people, when I pull up the price tag, they're like, oh,
right.
They're pissed off at me.
Right. So the most information that you can have going into it and feel it out, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
if you're
for sure.
like, if your budtender is like aggressive about it, like you don't have to be, you like go somewhere else. But it's just a question so we know where that, because there's so much product nowadays. Oh, we have 2 minutes. There's so much product nowadays that like if you say I want the best weed, Well, there's levels of the best. I mean, there's the best $50 eighth. There's the best $75 eighth. There's the best $35 eighth. There's the best $15 joint. Like there's the best $5 joint. There's many
True.
things in many categories that I feel like, you know, how back in the day they did the tier stuff. Like I feel like that's like relatively helpful to know. And as a not like as a consumer of cannabis going to dispensaries, I wanted to know what like what I was buying and how much it was. So I did appreciate when budtenders asked me that. And I have found in my time that more often than not, people are like, oh, thank you for asking me that. I didn't even think of that, you know, because sometimes you just want access and you're like, oh shit, this is going to cost me more than I thought it did. It didn't have to.
I didn't want to come off as the snooty sommelier, but you know, it is. If somebody comes in and tells me they have a budget, I can find you something that you're going to be super stoked, and
of course
you're not gonna like have to take out a second mortgage.
Exactly, and you're not trying to upsell. Like you don't get tipped on the fucking, you know, the total of the. It's not a right. Yeah, exactly. Like so, you are asking for like a genuine reason because you're an educated. I mean, we're snooty about our weed. Like that's just how we are personally. But and if you smoke with us, like you will be smoking the finest of weeds. Like we will never bring mid weed to a function. That's just us. You don't have to be like that. Like you really don't. If you want weed that is a middle of the road price, you have access to that. And asking a budtender that or having a budtender ask you that, you won't be misled. You won't have anybody be like, well, you know, I'll just tell you. Like we want you to get what you want and to not be disappointed by any of it. And on that note, we do have to end. So we'll save the rest for a later date. And thank you so much, Idobi. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody at Idobi. And follow Idobi everywhere. Download the Idobi Radio app for free. Follow us everywhere. Cool Nerd Weed Show, all the gosh darn place. Go vote, go vote, go vote, go vote, 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 vote. Listen to us on election night with It's News to Us. We were doing a very long broadcast. I'm not sure when it's starting. Maybe 7? I don't know. Do you know?
Probably around the time the polls are closing. Like 7, 8 o'clock on the East Coast.
Yeah. So around that time, look for stuff at Idobi Radio, at Cool Nerd Weed Show, and
don't panic.
It's organic.